Hello students, today we'll have a small introduction to the topic of estimation. So these are the topics that we'll cover. We'll see the definition of the term estimate, and then we'll see what are the different work items that we usually estimate in a construction project. And then there are two types of forms that we fill in while making an estimate. We will discuss them as well. So first, the definition. A construction estimate is a calculation of the quantities and cost of the various items required for a particular project. So it is a calculation of quantities and cost of what? Of various items required for a particular project. Okay, so in the coming slides, we'll see what are these various items. What are these various items of which we make estimate? So there are mainly 18 types of works. We'll see each of them one by one. The first one is earthwork. So there are two types of earthworks. One is earthwork in excavation and the second one is earthwork in filling. And the unit is cubic meters. So we measure earthwork in cubic meters. And earthwork is usually calculated as length into breadth into height of the foundation trench. So towards right, you can see we have taken, there is a trench or there is a hole which has been excavated for the purpose of constructing a foundation. So once the foundation is done, earth would be filled back. So that's what the two parts are. The first one is excavation and the second part is filling. So the next work item is concrete in foundation. The quantity of concrete is taken as length into breadth into height, and the unit is cubic meter. Third one is soiling. When the soil is soft or bad, one layer of dry brick or stone soiling is done below the foundation, and its unit is square meter. And towards right, you can see the picture where stone soiling is being done. And now, dam-proof course. A dam-proof course is a barrier through the structure designed to prevent moisture rising by capillary action. So DPZ is usually a 2.5 centimeter thick rich concrete mixed with a standard waterproofing material. DPZ is provided at the plinth level along its full width. And here the unit of measurement is square meter. So towards right, you can see a person who is working with a dam-proof course. So he is actually standing on the ground level, and the brick that you see being already being constructed is the one at the plinth level. So here he's doing the works of the dam-proof course on the layer just above the plinth level, so that moisture doesn't rise to the superstructure above. Okay, so the next one is masonry. So the unit of masonry is cubic meters, and it's calculated as length into breadth into height. And one usual practice is that the foundation and the plinth masonry is usually taken as one item, and the masonry, the superstructure, is taken as a separate item. And we also have to remember that there are certain deductions that we have to make while calculating the quantity of masonry, like when we have openings like windows, doors, lintels, etc. These have to be deducted from the quantity of masonry. And the next one is arch masonry work, and in the figure you can see that we have an arch masonry. So there are three concentric circles. The thickness of the arch has been given as T, and the length of the second arch, which is towards the middle, has been given as LM. Okay, so the unit of arch masonry work is taken as cubic meters, and quantity of arch masonry is LM into T into thickness of the wall, where LM is the mean length of the arch and T is the thickness of the arch. The next one is lintels opening, and lintels are either of RCC or RB. RCC stands for reinforced cement concrete and RB stands for reinforced block. And the unit again is cubic meter. So towards the right, you can see the picture of a lintel. So here we have an opening, possibly a door. So we have a door which is to be constructed just below this RCC work, which is a lintel. And the purpose of a lintel is that, so here we are expecting a door. If we do not have a lintel, the load of all the bricks and the building parts that are above the door will come directly onto the frame of our door. So in order to reduce the load that comes to the um, door frame, we actually provide a lintel so that the door, so the load that is coming towards the door actually gets spread out to the two portions of the wall surrounding the door. Okay, so the next one is RCC and RB work. So reinforced cement concrete and reinforced block work may be in roof or floor slabs, in beams, lintels, columns, and foundations. The unit here is meter cube. So one thing, so if you see the figure towards right, you can see that there is a man standing. So where is he standing? He's standing on a formwork. Okay, so the formwork, the cost involved in making the formwork could be actually included in the estimate of the RCC work, or it could be even estimated separately. And you can also see reinforcement bars here. Actually, reinforcement bar is never calculated together with the RCC work. So RCC will be estimated, but the steel which is a part of the RCC is estimated separately. So you just have to be careful about that. The next one is flooring and roofing. The unit of measurement is square meter. So floor and roof finishes are taken in square meters. So what are these finishes? So floor finishes, you would be familiar, are tiles or marble or granite. Well, these all form floor finishes. And the supporting structures are measured separately. So imagine if you have a concrete floor. So you have completed the pouring of concrete of a particular slab, and over that you are going to construct a floor finish. Okay, so the concrete floor, which actually is the structure over which you are going to provide the floor finish, that is called the supporting structure. So that is measured separately, and the finish is measured separately. Okay, the cost of cushioning concrete is added with the floor finish. So when you're providing the floor finish, there would be a small cushioning concrete that you provide just above the slab. So that the cost involved with the cushioning concrete would be added with the floor finish. And in case of tiled galvanized iron sheet or asbestos cement sheet roofing, the roof coverings are measured in square meter, and the supporting truss members are measured as separate items. So if it's a roof, the truss members are measured separately, and the roof covering, which could be which could be tiles or galvanized iron sheet, all of them are measured in square meters. And the 10th one is plastering and pointing. Here again, the unit is square meters. And while we tell about plastering and pointing, we'll have to tell the thickness. How thick is the plastering that we're going to conduct, or what is the mixed proportion that we're going to use for pointing. Everything will have to be specified. And in the picture towards right, you can see the brickwork is properly pointed. And here, while finding even though these are in pointing is done along the edges of the brick, the quantity of pointing is actually taken as is taken for the whole area, not just for these lines alone. Okay. And the next one is cornice. So cornice unit of measure is running meter. So as you can see in the figure, cornice are horizontal decorative features around a wall or any other construction. Okay, so that's it. It's you measure it along its length, right? And that is in meters. The next one is pillar. So what is its difference from a column? A column is meant to be a structural member, something which takes the load. But when we use the term pillar, it could be a load-bearing structure or a non-load-bearing structure. Okay. So the unit of measure is meter cube. And how do you find the quantity of a pillar? That is sectional area into height. And if you are doing any sort of plastering of pillars, they are calculated separately. The next one is doors and windows. So, well, there are three parts to it. The first one is the door frame. So, door frame is measured in cubic meters, and then we have door shutters or window shutters measured in meter square, and door fittings are measured in numbers. So, if you look to the figure towards right, you can see these white portions, the white doors, the white wooden part, they are called window shutters. Okay, they are the shutters. And where are they fixed? They are fixed to the frame. They are fixed to a frame. Okay, and how are they connected? They are connected using certain fittings. There could be some hinges. Okay, so these hinges are measured in numbers, and these shutters are measured in square meters, and the frame is measured in volume or in meter cube. Okay, the next one is woodwork. The unit of measurement of woodwork is cubic meter. Wooden beams, posts, wooden roof truss, etc. come under this item. The dimensions of the finished work shall be taken. So it's a finished work which is actually measured. So in the picture, you can see there is a truss. It's made of wood. So here the quantity would be made in cubic meter. So cubic meter, we will be making the measurement for the finished product. So a lot more of wood would have been wasted while making all this, but that wouldn't be measured. Okay. So the next one is ironwork, and the unit of measure of ironwork is kilograms or quintal, and weights per unit length can be calculated from steel table. So for ironworks, we usually use some standard sections, and the weights could be calculated from steel tables. And the weight of mild steel is usually taken as 7,850 kilogram per meter cube. The next one is whitewashing or color washing or distempering. Here, the unit of measure is square meter, and quantities are usually same as those for plastering. So if you have already done the calculations for plastering, well, then there is no need to make the calculations for whitewashing again. They are going to be the same. Okay, and the number of cords should be specified in the item. All cords together is considered as a single item. Okay, so if we have say 1 meter square area where we are going to have a whitewash, and if the rate is given as x rupees x per meter square, then irrespective, so then, and if the item is provided as, say, if the number of cords is 3, then the total amount that we'll have to spend there would be x into 1, that is rupees x would be spent there. Okay, so even when the number of cords is 3, the total amount is not 3 into x, but the total amount would be x. Fine. Okay, so the next point is painting or varnishing. Painting and varnishing, the units of measure is square meter, and area should be measured based on the outer dimensions of the door frame, and the area is measured flat. Because in doors and windows, the surface always is not plain. There could be ups and downs, there could be grooves, there could be certain projections, but while we are calculating, we will be just taking the plain area. Okay, and for both faces of doors and windows, the simple area measured is multiplied by a multiplying factor. Okay, so if we have a door of size 100 centimeter, 1 meter by 2.1 meter, we find the area as 1 into 2.1, which is 2.1 meter square. So that is the simple area. Okay, and then based upon the way that the door is constructed, we will multiply that simple area with a multiplying factor. So we have IS 1200. From that, we look to specific to the required table with multiplying factors. We can find the multiplying factor which is suitable for our particular work. Here I have given a small sample from our reference textbook. We have 6 different types of surfaces, and their multiplying factors have been given. Okay. So the next one, so that was about all the work items of construction projects which we usually estimate. Now we will look to certain deliverables of a detailed estimate. That is, when someone tells you to prepare a detailed estimate, what do we actually give them in return? Okay, we actually give them 2 completed forms. The first one is the details of measurement and calculation of quantities, and the second form is about abstract of estimated cost. So we'll look to that one by one. The first one is details of measurement and calculations of quantities. The whole work is divided into different items of work as concrete, brickwork, etc. And items are classified and grouped under different subheads. Okay, and the details of measurement of each item of work are taken out, and quantities taken out, and the quantities of each item is computed in prescribed form. And what is the prescribed form? That is the one which is given below. So the first one, the first column is for item number. So depending upon the items that you will have, it would start from 1, 2, 3, and it will go on. If we have 20 items, we'll have item numbers from 1 to 20. The second would be description or particulars. So that could be any of the 18 items that we have specified in our previous slides, or it could be any other item. And number. So if we have a window, if we have say 10 windows, so in our description we'll write, okay, window of size 100 centimeter by 80 centimeter, and how many number do we have? If we have 10 number of such windows, we'll write the number as 10. Okay, and what is the length, breadth, and depth, everything would be given in the subsequent columns. And the quantity, for finding the total quantity, what do? We multiply the number, length, breadth, and depth, and we get the total quantity. So the total quantity for, as we saw earlier, for certain items like fittings, it would be a number. For cornice, we saw that it's measured in meter, and then for plastering it's in meter square, and for excavation it's in meter cube. So will we use all the columns length, breadth, and height for every items? No, we'll be using length, breadth, and height based on the item that is under consideration. Okay, so this is the form. This is the format that we'll use to fill up the details of measurements and the calculations of quantities. Okay, and in the second form, we'll have the abstract of estimated cost. It is from this particular form that we'll understand what is actually the total cost that is involved in our particular project. So here again we have 6 different columns. Okay, so we see that the cost and item of work is calculated from the quantities already computed, and the total cost is worked out in this prescribed form. Here again, the first one is item number, similar to the one we saw earlier. After that, we write the description of the particulars, and then we write the quantity. Where do we get the quantity? We get the quantity from this particular form. And then we write the unit. We write the unit as meter cube, meter square, meter number, and then we have rate. In rate, we say what is rate per meter square, what is rate per meter cube. And then we multiply this quantity with the rate and we get a particular amount. Okay, so that's it. So what have we seen today? We have seen the definition of the term estimate, and then we have briefly looked to 17 work items that are usually seen in construction projects, and then we saw forms, the one for measurement as well as the one for cost. And for reference, I have referenced the book by B.N. Datta for preparing these slides. Okay, thank you students. Thank you very much.